Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. Mike is back! It is Tuesday, March 22nd. In this episode, the FA Cup is meh, but not meh. Arsenal over-celebrate. There's a story there. We talk about El Clasico, because why not? But first, Mike, you had Spurs, you had Leeds, you had a super New York football weekend. Tell us all about it.
Oh, it was unbelievable. So I went up to see some family and friends, hang out with my brother for his bachelor party. And so my idea, my brother was living in the city, the other one's in Jersey. I went, well, we got a couple of hours before we get to go see them and their buddies. He's like, oh, well, Wolves are playing Leeds on Friday at 4. Now I'm coming off
the show.
And so I'm coming off of the high of highs with that Leeds win over Norwich, where I won all that money last week, and when I have to repay these folks back with my allegiance for an afternoon. So I went, well, let's go to the Leeds bar. The Leeds bar in New York City is Legends on 33rd Street.
That's everyone's bar.
It's everyone's bar, right?
All teams' bar.
Yeah. But so you had all the March Madness games and only Leeds fans at that point in the corner. And there was like I'd say like 40 to 45 of them. It was a good crowd.
Not bad.
Yeah. And so here, the thing is, right? So folks, especially for our overseas listeners, I've had friends who I've made in England who come to New York City specifically for the Tottenham bar, which I'll talk about in a second, and said, this is the best place to watch Tottenham Hotspur outside of North London.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Because they don't have to worry about getting beat up.
Well, it's that, but it's true because in no other place are you going to get the numbers, right? And the dedicated televisions and sound and whatever. A lot of the clubs in the Premier League have their own bar. Liverpool has Carragher's, Flannery's for Spurs. I forget the Arsenal one, but like there's a bunch of them.
The Spotted Pig, I think, on 14th Street.
Spotted Pig, that's right. It's down the street. That's right. Of course, I knew it. I've peed on it before. How could I forget? But the point is that the numbers are so great that you have the capability of amassing a full-on crowd that everybody's in the same. And it's not just for soccer. It's for college football. It's for college basketball, whatever. But you don't have that depth anywhere else outside of New York City. And I've felt it firsthand here in Orlando. I know you have a good crowd in San Diego, but I don't, certainly not what you would have in New York City.
It's in a regular game at the Bluefoot, which is an Arsenal bar. It's the bar because there's one English guy.
Exactly.
There's 9 people.
Exactly. And there's one bar down here. There is an Orlando Spurs chapter. They stink. But there is a bar in downtown Orlando that is pretty good, but it is the bar, right? It's not this team's bar, this team's bar, this team's bar. So, so we went to Legends, which again, for a lot of the smaller clubs and Chelsea, because they're not a real club, they all go to Legends. And they have different spots and different times. I've never been there for like a Saturday where
I have been there many times, and they have a whole downstairs area,
right?
That they have
and upstairs
split yelling with. Crazy.
Yes. Yeah. So it can get a little bit colorful, I'm sure, when those teams play each other. But anyway, we had all day afternoon March Madness games leading into Leeds Wolves, and Leeds were plus money going. I'm sorry, Wolves were plus money at home against Leeds.
That was a gimme, almost.
It was, and all the smart money in the world said, okay, bet on Wolves here. And I went, I will not do anything of the sort. I am Leeds United through and through for the next 3.5 hours.
And we all go on together.
Yeah. So I went, I might as well be in Ellen Road right now. So I felt the obligation, the pull of the shirt from last weekend. And these people they're good folks. I was talking to a few of them. And so Wolves come out of the gate hard, beating the piss out of them. They're up 2-0 at half. It could have and probably should have been more. The second half starts, and it's more of the same. And then a very interesting challenge. Ball goes down the right flank, and Meslier comes flying out of his goal, and Raul Jimenez clashes with him. Bang. And on first view, I went, that's a straight red for Meslier. He's out of here.
For Meslier, yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Because he's completely
he's out of his mind. Yeah.
He's somewhere where he shouldn't be. And Jimenez doesn't see him.
Yes.
And he initiates the contact with Jimenez, and therefore it's his fault. And upon further review, and it goes to VAR, and I look, and the more I look, and they both got the worst of the collision.
It was bad, yeah.
But I went, Meslier got the ball. There's no way you can send him off. There's no way you can really even penalize him.
There's no studs on Meslier. It's a bad call. He didn't hit him.
No, but there's no call on Meslier. The call is it's a yellow card on Raul Jimenez, which I think in a vacuum is the right card.
Yellow card, sure, but it's a second yellow.
But he had a yellow already.
Right.
And that's harsh to send him off. It's probably fair, but it's harsh. And
now, there's some important things about this game for Leeds, like to set the stage for how big a comeback this becomes.
Yeah.
4 guys go down. They lose Meslier,
yeah.
They lose Bamford, they lose Laurent, and they lose Klisch. They're running on nothing.
Fumes.
Yes. And the goals they scored, Trincao is like all over the place kicking ass. He's really good.
And so, that red card. And now, the more I thought about it as the game went on, I went, you lost your center forward. It's not like you've lost like a left back.
Correct.
And you have to make a sub to kind of figure that. So it's not like, and sometimes you see like that substitution becomes like, or that red card becomes a 1.5.
It should not have changed how they played with a 2-goal
Not much
lead.
at all with a 2-goal lead, right? And yet they completely bunkered, and Leeds were able to sort of pick them apart. It was nothing for Wolves the rest of the game, and Leeds had their way. I think it was like the 65th minute.
Yep.
I'm not looking at the stats at the moment, but so they get 1-1, and everybody sort of goes maybe 2-2. And the place is alive because now we've got a point from this. And for Leeds,
they're down 2, and Harrison and Rodrigo bring them back in 5 minutes in the second half.
Harrison was magic.
Yeah,
Harrison was unbelievable. Rodrigo was magic. Rafinha also not playing, by the way, right? So
yes, that's right.
You have all of these missing stars, if you will, for Leeds.
There's basically no reason that Leeds should win this game ever. No.
And yet, in the space of 4 minutes, you've gone from 2-0 down, and you get a red card, and you're 2-2. Yeah. And so the game sort of like peters out from there, but it is still Leeds' to take. And they get another great save, this and that, and the other thing, but they can't get the breakthrough. And you get 8 minutes of stoppage time, which, by the way, there were 8 minutes in the first half as well because there were so many injuries. This game took like 4 hours. So where is it in the? It's the 91st minute. Luke Ayling. So Luke Ayling had a tough day at the office.
He always has. He has a tough day and a good day. He's all over the place.
But on this play, it's a curl that goes in. He keeps it in bounds. Okay, and that's a critical point of this play. Keeps it in bounds. It bounces around a little bit. He strips the defender of the ball. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Willie Bawley. And it just kind of bounces right to him. And he blasts it home.
And he does one of the worst celebrations. That's the best celebration.
Yeah, the gun.
No, his bad tumble. He tries to do the Robbie Keane.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it's awful. And he falls all over the place. Cue the bedlam. You must have kissed at least 3 guys on the mouth.
It was, yeah. I cheated on my wife with multiple men.
Which is normal for folks who don't know that goals going in is very much a moment of weird things happening.
And I don't have any, aside from them winning me a bunch of money 10 days ago, I have no association with Leeds United whatsoever.
They're now you do, forever.
They're a likable team. But yeah, I mean, I was just sitting there hanging out at the bar, right? And I went, I'm in with these folks today. And the thing is that that's the beauty of how football spreads in America.
Yes.
Right? Because there was a bar full of people getting off of rush hour, getting off at happy hour, I should say, after a long work week. Yeah. And they're just sitting there. And then there's these 40 degenerates in the side of the bar.
Boards.
Just fucking scream crying. Like
amazing.
And that's people are like, I'll have what they're having, please.
Right. Well, that's what football does. And I think that's one of the key things. So what we'll do now is we'll go to the scores for the FA Cup and the league. You can pick up on Spurs, but I'm going to start. Let's start the clock. We have, we were just talking about it. Wolves 2, Leeds 3. I'll go through who actually scored in that game. It was first Castro, then Trincao. Jimenez goes off. Harrison, Rodrigo, Alien. It looks like Spurs might go through. It was Marsch Madness for the American crowd.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesse Marsch gets his just dues. Then
I love
Saturday, Arsenal beat Aston Villa, and Gabby Agbanglahor on fucking Talk Sport complains. Sorry, it's Ashley Young complains that Arsenal celebrated like they just won a league. This is the second time teams have complained. Wolves also complained when Arsenal celebrated like they just won a league. They're 20 years old. Of course they're going to celebrate like they won a league. Big road win for Arsenal. They sit in fourth still with a game in hand. The North London Derby is getting very, very interesting. On Sunday, Leicester beat Brentford. No big deal.
Is that Leicester with a heartbeat, though? Is it
that is Leicester with a heartbeat? Yeah, they didn't get killed. Brentford were okay. No Eriksen in that game. They scored. That game is a game of amazing goals. Just all incredible goals. Your boys win 3-1 at West Ham, but that's not it. We go to the FA Cup.
Let's go to the FA Cup.
The FA Cup, Middlesbrough lose 2-0. They never really get out of gear. This is a very professional performance by Chelsea. Mason Mount is killer. Either way, he's the best player on Chelsea. I don't want to hear anything else. Then my boys in Selhurst Park, they stomp Everton. Everton are the weakest team in the league. They basically give up a goal and fall apart. This is the first time that Crystal Palace play Eze, Olise, Zaha, and Gallagher together. And boy, were they fun. And they did score goals.
Because we're not going to talk about this after this. Everton, we said that they should punt this game. I don't know that they did based on the lineup that they put out.
They didn't, but then they did.
Right.
Right.
So
but that was
you
worse.
Got bigger fish to fry.
And Frank Lampard calls his team to the mats. He's like, you guys don't have any bollocks. They've got no stones. He called his team a bunch of pussies. City win 4-1 at Southampton. This game looks easier than the scoreline actually said. Southampton were really good and could have scored. And then the venerable Nottingham Forest at the City ground. They hold Liverpool down for 78 minutes. They have a chance to go up. The guy's name is a crazy name. I have to try and read it. Is his name Zickerschnagel? That's not a joke. He misses an open goal. Then Jota scores and Liverpool take control of the game. Liverpool are just flying right now. So your semifinals for the FA Cup, and we won't talk more about this, is Chelsea Palace. Unfortunately, Gallagher won't be able to play, so
that's bullshit.
I know. And then City Liverpool. So City will have a gauntlet week to try and play Atletico, Liverpool, then Liverpool again in the league and in the FA Cup. But for now, Spurs.
Let's go back to I'm not done. Let's go back to Chelsea and Palace. That rule makes sense in the league. I don't like it, but I respect it.
Yeah.
But in the cups, fuck you. You should be able to play. You should be able to play against the club that's loaning you out in the cups.
That is not a mandated thing. That is an England.
No, it's part of it's part of every loan agreement. It either is or it isn't.
No. If you loan a player to Spain, like if Conor Gallagher had been loaned to Sevilla and they played in the Champions League, he would play versus Chelsea.
Oh no, I know it's an FA thing.
No, it's England only.
Wow,
it means between English teams.
Yeah. But again,
because if they did that in Italy, none of the teams would play because the teams loan out hundreds of guys at a time.
Wow, yeah, right. But I think that is I actually really like that rule in the league itself because that has implications far-reaching. And one would argue an English person who's listening to the show would say, actually, fuck you, Mike. The FA Cup matters, and I'm here to tell you it doesn't. But it does in a sense that you get to win silverware. But financially,
it doesn't matter. It's all glory. Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, and I think this is one of the things that I found this week, and one of the things that's been a theme if you go to Leeds, if you go to City Ground, if you go to even City had good away. The FA Cup gets the best fans because it's very English. It gets the away crowds. It's that randomness of who we playing. The crowds this week, the supporters this week were really strong at all these games. You had Middlesbrough being like, fuck you, Chelsea. Don't try and cancel the game because your owner's an asshole. By the way, there's a picture of Sheikh Mansour with Assad now.
Oh boy. Well, a word on them. This is the beauty, and to get to what your point is, right? Middlesbrough would rather play that game and lose than win because Chelsea's owner is friends with Vladimir Putin on a forfeit, right? Like, understand that for a second. They would rather have the chance at glory and the almost certain defeat, but have the day and the memory and the anxiety and all that goes with it to say, we're going to go toe-to-toe to you. You're going to punch us. We're going to punch you back. And we're going to see who's left standing in after 90 minutes. They would rather have that than the guaranteed win.
Right. They wouldn't want to forfeit. They would. This is a difference in mentality, I think, that American sports don't have, that I wish we did in a way. We don't have moral victories. We don't have, oh, they played well. We don't have really memorable teams that don't win. In basketball, we do a little bit. It's the only sport I can think of that has memorable teams that are not winning teams. Like you have the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash. They're known for how they played, not that they won. They were close. They were very good. But I don't know of any team in the NFL that is known but didn't win. Like, I suppose
like the Bills because
the
they
Bills
didn't
because
win.
they lost.
Famously didn't win, right?
Right, but it wasn't for their style. It was in hockey, maybe there's that, but I don't know.
No, I can't get my head around my own fan base. Like the Rangers, I think of some of the famous Rangers teams that didn't win from the last 10 years.
But they're not remembered.
But no, they're not the team that is remembered. In fact, you'd argue this is sort of part and parcel to having multiple goals at the end of the season, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like
cup run of this.
Put it this way. Yeah. The New York Rangers in 2012 won the President's Trophy. And in 2014, they won the Eastern Conference Trophy. We do have other trophies, but the point is
they're not remembered.
Well, the difference is that they're all in the same search of the only trophy, right? Yeah. They're on the way to. Oh, good. Put it this way. For our English listeners, this is going to sound silly. When in hockey, when the team in the Eastern or Western Conference wins the playoffs on their side to advance to the Stanley Cup final, they are awarded a trophy. They don't touch. Conference. They win the conference. They get a trophy. They all take a picture with the trophy and they don't touch it because they're told, or so they lead to believe in many cases, that if they touch the trophy, that will be bad luck and they will not win the Stanley Cup in the next round, which is the trophy that they want, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, hockey is the one sport that does have historical trophies for other things, but they're not remembered. I mean, no one goes around talking about the President's Trophy that the Rangers won when they at all. Ever. I mean, it does matter somewhat.
It used to matter in baseball. The pennant used to matter.
It did matter. Well, because it was a separate league.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But so now it doesn't really. But that was the only. But there wasn't a trophy. Like there wasn't like the trophy, right? Like you don't. It to put it in the proverbial cabinet, right? Like that wasn't a thing.
No, we don't do that. We don't have this concept of silverware in and of itself.
It's singular. It's singular.
Except players do. They do care about winning MVPs.
That's all contract related, though.
They care. No, it's legacy stuff. It's glory, right? Like if you have 5 MVPs and the best player in the world had 6, you want to get the 6th one.
I think we're talking about such a small percentage of
sure.
But like I think the larger teams, like I think that you take, and I think you're looking at the NBA specifically.
All-star teams, that shit matters.
Yeah, but that's changed in the last 15 years so dramatically that I don't think it ever mattered before. I don't think Michael Jordan ever really gave a fuck how many MVPs that he had.
But now it matters.
But now it matters because everybody's measured
we've made
up.
it that. Right.
We've sort of created that, right?
So, So that's funny. That's a funny thing. I think that is happening in football a little bit. You are seeing the mix of cultures, right? Yeah. Ballon d'Or is not a thing. It is now. Sure. It's a thing to talk about. Sure. Ballon d'Ors matter. Best 11s, we don't really think about like, oh, this guy has
like
this
what
many
would be
best
their
11s.
All-star teams, right?
They don't have all-star teams at all.
You have that effectively, in lieu
at
of
the
that.
end. But it's not historically rated. Like no one goes, oh, Gary Neville was better than Kyle Walker. He was in 12 best 11s in the 90s.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Although we should fucking be the people who do that.
Oh my God.
We should just go back and be like, argue about, like, are you telling me that that fucking Ashley blah 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 was better than blah blah blah?
Coming soon to the Chop Sports Network. All-time worthless, but this guy arguments, but for football instead of all the other shit.
And the other problem is that there's only 3 teams. The same team won so much that it doesn't really work. It's just like, no, it's Gary Neville. No. It is Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say about Ashley Cole. Right. Ashley Cole was the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have to talk about Spurs now.
So I'm still in New York City in the part of this story. I am now since back in Florida, but I see some friends and family on Saturday. Sunday morning, big time matchup. Spurs at home against West Ham. Top four implications, but realistically, loser walks
leaves
home.
Town. Yeah,
loser leaves town. Thank you.
Yeah.
Loser leaves town as it relates to the top 4 matchup. So let's set the scene beforehand. Spurs.
Can I take a step back for our European friends? Loser leaves town is a wrestling cliche where a player comes, they fight to the death. If you lose, you literally leave town.
You lose your job effectively, right? So we love those references on the show.
Yeah.
And going back into the European piece, West Ham have a tremendous win on Thursday afternoon
against Sevilla.
After being down a goal, right? You talked about it.
I did talk. And Yarmolenko again.
Huge game. Oh God. And we've talked, if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you know I have always loved Yarmolenko since he scored a goal at Wembley against Spurs in Champions League for Dortmund. It has to be 4 or 5 years ago now. He's that fun. Motherfucker is insane, and I'm going to remember that name because it's a memorable fucking name. Yeah. And I've always had him in the back of my mind. So Yarmolenko,
he's handsome too. Jesus.
Oh, good man. Good on you. I'm happy for you guys, and I'm more happy that you expended all your fucking energy on Thursday because you looked like a bag of milk on Sunday.
They were really bad.
And so setting the scene, Spurs are on 48 points. West Ham also on 48 points. Spurs with 2 games in hand. They are behind them in goal difference by 1. Okay? All of this is called foreshadowing. So Spurs come out the chute hot. They're all over them. And let me just set where I'm at. Flannery's, I alluded to it earlier in the show, the Tottenham bar on 14th and 7th. And for my money, you walk in there and it's literally scarves from everywhere in the world that support Tottenham. Harry Kane signed game-worn boots. Charlie Kane, his brother, who's a shitty agent, is a friend of the bar. He's been there many times. I met him there a handful of times.
Sure.
Just the best place. And the funny thing is, I used to be a regular. I do not go there much anymore. I haven't been there in 3 years. I walk in and 10 people are like, Mikey. It made me feel like $1 million motherfucking bucks. It was unbelievable. Fantastic. It was awesome. So I'm making. I see my friend the bartender.
I think a thing to stand back on, and I don't know. This is probably for our English crew, Fan Hub. We love you. Something you may not understand is like Premier League. You may think it's big local. It's really an interesting concept that happens in the U.S. I'm sure you sort of think about it as like fucking foreign fans, but it is huge. I would argue and say that the Premier League is the biggest export that England has by a lot. And I'm not talking about rockets in Ukraine. I'm talking about literal soft power and soft culture. It is a big fucking deal. And slowly but surely, it has people like us. If we inspire some fucking 20-year-old to do a podcast because they're like, well, I'm American. Why would I do a British soccer league podcast? That's fucking, or not British, excuse me, English. Sorry, Scotland. We don't really cover your league. Fuck off. But yeah, it is a whole thing. It's a whole culture. We get all your games. We do everything. It's
for the sports insane. The sports fan who has an American sports fan who has an open mind. The Premier League is the fucking Beatles of my generation. Okay.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's how big of an export it is relative. Like, I'm serious. Like it has completely transformed the way that American sports fans, again, not all of us, not most of us, right? But there is a decent percentage. And when I say decent, I mean 20 to 30% of
Especially
American sports fans,
especially
young people who, guess what, love drinking in the mornings. Go
and
to
we
bars.
don't like ads.
And we don't like it, but we go to these bars, and then, I'm telling you, we latch to your culture. There's a Kulisevsky song now, which I will sing probably in another 4 or 5 minutes. That just makes me so happy. And it's those things where we bring that right over from you guys, and we crave your creativity because we don't have it here.
By the way, we have to talk about something that English fans aren't going to know. They got a new English lady to be on NBC, which I don't feel good about.
I was confused by that. She's like Lady Low.
Carol White, I believe her name is.
It's a very British name.
I don't like it. Oh, by the way, I know you'd love it. Rebecca Lowe, an American.
I saw that. She's officially an American citizen. Congratulations to Lady Lowe.
Amazing.
We love you. You're officially one of our own.
That was an amazing thing. Anyway, we're sidetracking. So you've got your team. I want to talk about Betancourt. He was fucking incredible.
Oh, what did I tell you? 3-4 weeks ago, he reminds me, not just because his name is also Rodrigo, but he has Rodri qualities.
Okay? I see what you're saying.
And he's calm. And you see it. He's got that Cadillac way about him. It's passed back to him. I forget. I think it was 2-1 at that point, maybe right before halftime.
The one that goes back around to him. Rice.
His face is to the goal. His back is to the rest of the play. And both West Ham players bearing in on him, and he just pirouettes, bang, and leaves them both in the dust. And I think one of them was Rice. And he pings an outlet ball into Kane. And by the way, that ball doesn't end up hitting Sonny in this instance, but Kane with room with Sonny on a run. That's a goal 5 to 7 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all because of Betancourt.
Yeah. I thought Betancourt was just like, it was so cool to see Spurs have someone in the middle controlling things. He was pointing, he was moving, he was showing for the ball, he was putting balls around the corner. And Kane was dropping deep, but it seemed he dropped deep and was turning into space like over and over and over again. It was just like, what the fuck? If this is a version of Spurs, then they're good. It's like, it was that conversation we've been having all season. How does defense link to attack? And all of a sudden, Betancourt immediately you ping it into him, and he was firing shit into the front players. Like, there was one play he fired into Kane, who did like a backside heel. Like it was like, oh, hey, I like an atom ball at him. But it was changing the pace. This was a bad performance from West Ham, and maybe this isn't a game to sort of judge West Ham
let's be
on.
Fair, no Jared Bowen, and they felt it, right?
They haven't had Bowen for a while, but
this is one where they needed him. And Antonio loves a game against Spurs. He had that one chance early and then was a ghost. He was out of it. So there wasn't a whole lot. And again, a long, difficult game on Thursday for West Ham. So it's not like they were coming in with 100%. I think that this was, frankly, I didn't think that Spurs would play this well, but I did sort of expect West Ham to play poorly. I didn't expect them to play great, at least.
Yeah, it's the curse of Thursday, Sunday. Once you get into that, you can't really get out of it.
Sure.
So Spurs now are looking good for top 4.
No, there's a lot to play for. And I mean, it's all these games are winnable games. There's no FA Cup. There's no anything in the way. You have no reason to not have every swinging dick you have going and fighting for the shirt every time they take the field. Christian Romero, what a class defender he is. I've said on the show many times, he is, and so I was with my brother who's a Liverpool fan, and I'm not going to say he is Van Dijk. I'm not going to say he is Ruben Diaz. He has a lot of the same qualities in the sense that he's so quick to close you down. He's clinical with his timing. He is a bastard. He will give you some shithousery, and he will kick you out. But the clinical nature with which he acts and decides to when to go to do things is very reminiscent of Diaz and Van Dijk. And having missed out on Diaz, Romero's my guy. I'm loving him. I'll go to war for that man.
I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Doherty. I'd be remiss if we didn't sort of say, hey, Spurs are winning a bunch in a row, and whenever that North London derby gets rescheduled,
Which is interesting that it hasn't yet, by the way.
they want to
Neither
find
team
them.
has any other games on the fucking calendar left.
They want to find the day and the time to put it on a fucking Monday night when they can, when the police are available to put. Hey, listen, put it at the end of the season. I don't give a shit. Let's do it. Right? Like,
one of those
like, you're not ready. You're
FA
not
Cup
ready
weekends. No, that makes sense. One of those like last FA Cup weekends. So you have like the 2 FA Cup semifinals.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Actually,
could be a good. Now I know Arsenal are going to complain. Listen, dear Arsenal, let me tell you something.
Fuck you,
I'm
Arsenal.
going to talk to the camera. You can't force games getting canceled because of COVID, and then complain that you have too many games. Either you play them when you had COVID and with a lower level team, or you play them now. Okay, shut the fuck up. Thank you.
They still don't have that many games though,
and they're not playing in Europe, so extra shut the fuck up.
Extra shut the fuck up. It's remarkable to me that Mikel Arteta, who
had
I've had his back
to complain. I mean,
I've had his back for 2 years, and so he comes around and goes, "Well, we had to play Liverpool. This is bullshit." Hey, buddy, everybody plays Liverpool twice. I don't know what to tell you. Man.
I think the issue was Wednesday, Saturday lunchtime. If it had been Sunday, he'd have been fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know how many teams play Wednesday, Saturday from Champions League?
Or Thursday? Thursday, Sunday?
Thursday, Sunday. Every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
I know. It was shocking that he complained about it, but I get it. You're protecting your team. You're doing what you can. Did they over-celebrate beating Aston Villa? They were taking off their shirts. They're talking to retarded kids in the stands. It was a lot of Arsenal stuff, but I don't mind it. I let people get mad.
Do what you want.
The more feeling, the more hatred, the better the league is.
Do what you're going to do. I'm going to ridicule you because it's not even act like you've been there before. But
they literally haven't, though.
but it's not even that. Act like there's a bigger goal, right? Like this is you're getting excited about a job interview, not a job offer, right? Like this is where you're at. You're like, hey, I got a call from HR today. Like, shut up, idiot. Do a good job at the job interview and you'll get a job offer. And that's worth celebrating, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I find Arsenal is that they're always willing to get excited about what they perceive to be little wins and treat them as big wins. Because I think that they're deep down, they're so downtrodden and like beaten dog syndrome that they don't think the big win is coming. And that's okay. I hope it never does.
They shouldn't. They're insecure, right? These
this has happened to them.
Your team is one of them. You're the opposite of United, right? Like just like they were entitled for a long time, fired Wenger, and then went, oh yeah, Wenger. That guy was good. Now we're in this other zone where listen, Troops, who is the resident Arsenal fan in the U.S., done well for himself. Good for him. God bless him. I hope he's getting rich. He was Arteta out last year.
He's
the
an
whole
idiot.
season.
He's a fucking idiot, dude. He's always been an idiot. But the point is like, what I'll delineate real quick, because in Flannery's on Sunday and frankly in Legends on Friday, I was losing my shit when Sonny scored all 3 times, or I guess second, technically one of them was an own goal. Doesn't matter.
By the way, Kane doesn't get an assist for that fucking own goal.
I know it's criminal, but what I'll say is this: if your team scores, you have a license to react however you want, aside from basically creating content and posting it on the internet. Like that's the only, which I understand is what we're doing right now, and that's not the point. But like, if you're living to show your reaction to something, then that's ridiculous. But otherwise, react however you want, however you see fit, however ridiculous you may think it is. That is the essence of football. That is why we do it. It is why we love it. Yes. But if you had time to kind of hem and haw and watch the rest of the game and meditate on what's going to actually feel like to win, and then the final whistle blows and you're like, we're champions on March 20th, I got a bone to pick with that. I'm sorry. I just don't know that that's the most appropriate reaction, right?
Yeah.
So, and not because I don't think you deserve it. Well, it is. But like I think so little of you that you think so little of you. Like aim higher. at the end of the day. I
Are
think
you
that's
talking about?
the
Are you
point.
talking about Arsenal still? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Or anybody who acts like that. Again,
Yeah.
when a goal goes in, the immediate intoxicating euphoria, do whatever you see fit. But like, you come down from the goal, you win the game, you give a good cheer, you hug your fucking best mate, and you have a beer and a shot with him, and then you go, how are we going to go win the next one? Like that's how you win real things. That's how City
you go
does it.
again. You go again.
That's how
Now,
Liverpool does it. That's how Chelsea does it.
It's funny, anyone. I have to be remiss and talk about the. I have to represent the anti-Spurs documentation. You guys are the worst at that.
Bullshit. Arsenal is bullshit.
Well, at least they've won things. You've won nothing.
When? Well, FA Cups and stuff, I suppose.
Yeah,
but like,
Cups.
I understand. But my point is that when, all right, with probably a derby as the only, like they beat Aston Villa for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah, and they went nuts. It was
like, come on. If we beat Arsenal in the North London derby at the end of the season, and even if it's not guaranteeing a top 4 race, will we treat it like a cup final? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
but like,
probably,
you know what?
Like
that makes sense a little bit. But like if we beat Villa, right? Let's go through.
You're not going to care. It's not a big deal.
No, we're gonna feel good. We're not gonna feel elated, and we're not gonna like cry on the pitch and shit. Like, let's see.
Like I've been feeling about.
Oh, wait. Who does Tottenham play on April 9th? Aston Villa. If Tottenham wins that game on April 9th away at Aston Villa, which is exactly what Arsenal just did, will they react the same way? No, 10 times out of 10. Flat out. There's your difference. Oh, I love when the Premier League does that. It's the Premier League is run by a cabal of men called the Premier League scriptwriters, and I understand, but they just never fail to just, hey, here you go. Here's the biggest way that we can immediately prove that what is going on is foretold in the clouds, right? So in addition to the FA Cup being the third biggest game that City have to play in 7 days, right?
Right.
But this is another example. It's like, oh, just kidding. Remember that point you were making, Mike? You get to make it again in 2 weeks. Now, Tottenham will lose that game and the point will be moot. But if they do take 3 points, watch and see if they start throwing their shirts and shit to people in the stands. And it's not as if they had a late winner.
My cat.
The fucking.
Oh, he got sprayed with skunk a little bit, I think.
Oh, boy.
Nearby. Only a little bit. Not too bad. Anyway, he's all right. Yeah, I wanted to talk about Villa because my team actually got around to beating them. And this was a Phil Foden show. I was just looking at the timeline. First of all, Southampton were really good. Phil Foden came in and did some filthy things as he does in general. It was an amazing performance by him. He really got that going. City we're still not. I don't feel good about where they are, especially in the context of Liverpool, right?
Can we talk about the narrative monster for a second, though? Because Liverpool didn't look good this weekend either. But Liverpool had a heroic win, and City won 4-1, by the way. It took them a little bit longer than you would have liked to get out of first gear, but like
we're never going to be able to like. So,
but by saying don't give into it, I don't know. Well,
City we will not get there. We do not have.
But what you're giving into is
listen. We don't have Heysel and we don't have Hillsborough. I know that's awful. It's not to say that those people that what happened to those people is good. Or Istanbul, right? We don't have those things, right? And by not having them, we can never get to that place, right? There is a thing that did that is bigger than football that City can never get to. Now, it can happen, but I consume, and I want you to know, everyone, I research this show. I live this fucking sport. I listen to every podcast. I watch every game. I fucking watch Joe Cole say stupid things. I know how bad English pundits are. They're really fucking bad. Like, they're laughably bad. They're laughably bad, but I do think Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville are really good in their moments. Like, I shared a video with you. I was like, can you imagine American sports like this? Like, they really took a very pointed, relaxed view about like the Chelsea thing that is still ongoing. They may have an owner eventually. So, but in the politics of glory for City we play great. We've got that part compartmentalized. Everyone looks at us. They go, look at how great they play. But we're not adding anything extra right now until we do. And when we do, maybe it'll be this Liverpool game. And it will be Liverpool. City have to have an incredible down 3 to Liverpool comeback. And until those things happen, we'll only have 93-20. We'll only have 1999. And that's really only for City fans. We just have to keep playing European nights and keep going and keep having those games and keep having those moments until it happens. And until then, it's just not going to happen.
I wanted to disagree on that part, but you're right. Like the disagreement would have been, yeah, but if you beat Liverpool 4-0,
it won't matter.
It would be remembered as like the shit kicking of shit kickings.
No, it would have to be 6.
Well, yes, but 2 things had to happen, right? To your point, you have to have the effective, complete 180 for both teams. You have to have the great and powerful Liverpool drop from 2-0 up, and then the heroic City comeback. Whereas, I'm going to say this out loud, and if it happens, I'm going to scream into the microphone in the episode after April 10th. If City are up 2-0
and blow it,
they
could.
And which could happen. We've seen Liverpool do this a handful of times.
It will be annoying.
More than a handful.
It'll be the worst.
It will be the definition of English football for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
Anytime any team is down, a good team is down 2-0, it will be referred to like the Red Sox coming back in 2004. It will be that moment, that insufferable, that awful.
By the way, I've been looking at the numbers, and there's literally no separation between those teams. Even the underlying numbers, like City and Liverpool, are literally identical. Now, how they go about getting to identical is different. Like City does it with depth, City does it with possession, City does it with whatever. I still think that Liverpool is all star power. Like without Van Dijk, they lose. Right now, City don't have Diaz, and they're playing as though they don't have Diaz. Yeah. It's all like City is much more mechanical, interchangeable. I mean, literally, I heard Rebecca Lowe say this, and I almost ripped my head off. And maybe people feel this way. They're like, City are great, but they're boring.
No, we've said that for months now, and it's not that they're boring on the field. They're not at all, but they have no personality outside of Pep. Dude, I mean, I saw
Jack Grealish gives it a little bit, but he didn't.
So does Foden a little bit.
He hasn't hit the ground. They all get rotated out. They don't play enough. They lose.
Well,
it's like an episode of a TV show where they don't have the lead on the show. You're like, would you just put the guys in?
I actually think that it's twofold. I think Kevin De Bruyne having literally no personality, like negative personality, works against, right? Because he is the star of the show. He's the best player. It's as if you had basically Mo Salah, but like a mute and no hair and no emotion and no whatever.
But Mo Salah doesn't do anything off the field either, but he does have personality. He
smiles, for fuck's sake. If he scores, he smiles. Like, De Bruyne. Yeah. De Bruyne is like Ivan Drago. He's like a robot, right? Yeah.
He's literally a family man. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got 3 kids.
I'm certain
he just goes home and plays with his kids, and that's it. But that's what City want. They think they literally have the next step, and we haven't touched on this, but Haaland coming is a big deal.
Oh yeah,
this is the first moment.
By the way, he looks like a mutant, so it's going to be fun to have him just in general.
It's going to be a moment for City to go, okay, we've gotten to this place doing just football. The next step is players as brand to lift the whole thing. Yeah. It's the only thing I can think of. Like, what would be amazing, and this won't happen, would be something like Pogba leaving on a free and being like, you know what? I really don't give a shit. I'm going to sign for City because I want to show people how good I am.
Right.
It would, first of all, it would destroy Manchester. They would lose their mind. But it happened, right? They did it. Tevez did it in 2010, where they do this famous, like City used to do that, and now they don't. because I think the Balotelli and the Tevez thing, they were combustible and they had more personality.
No, I think that they were desperate for anything to have a winner, and now they don't need it to have a winner.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it is crazy how personality-wise it's missing, and it's just not there, and it drives me crazy. Can I pour some out for my friends at Nottingham Forest? We did talk about it a little bit.
And I do want to go deeper into Liverpool as this works.
They were so good. They were undefeated in their last 10. So they had Chris Hughton as their coach, venerable, super nice guy, but in the Roy Hodgson Dyche mold, defend, no forward thinking. And they started their season 1-6 and in the championship. And since he was fired, Nottingham Forest would actually be the top team in the league. Or actually, they wouldn't be as good as Fulham, but they'd at least be in the playoff spot. So we'll probably talk about the championship a lot more. I was actually thinking of doing a solo championship podcast just for the Fan Hub kids, just to do like a 20-minute.
I'll jump in with you.
Yeah, but you don't watch the championship.
Yeah, it's the international break. We got to find fucking something to talk about.
No, I mean like a whole show, another show.
I mean, I have to do some homework, but I could try. You know what? You want to do it yourself. Do it your fucking self.
No, I don't want to do it myself.
I want to bring up one important part for
about
Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold is hurt. He is rumored to be back for April 10th. We do not know that he will be back for April 10th. And even if he is, that is still his first game back after, maybe 3.5 weeks?
They're better now, though, I have to say. Liverpool are better. Tizamakis is
well, he's on the left. He was playing on the left, just rotating in for Robertson. So Tsimikas, I think he's fine. Joe Gomez is fine.
None of them are Alexander-Arnold.
No. So, look, I mean, let's call it what it is. If you don't have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Liverpool has a lot less teeth, right? So
they can't create. They just literally didn't create shit. Yeah.
Look, and what I'm saying is, will he play in this game? Almost certainly yes. But my question is, will he be 100% or close enough to it that you don't notice? That on March 22nd is the question that you and I have that nobody knows the answer to. Not the doctors, not him, not anybody.
You and I have two friends that can help us.
Okay.
We're going to talk to Nico Otamendi, and we're going to talk to Jan Vertonghen.
Oh.
And they are going to go fuck Liverpool up.
Yeah.
Nico Otamendi, El General, is going to bring some flying kicks. I just don't get sent off. Get the boot in.
Or do. Make one count.
Just take somebody with you. Sorry, this is Sydney. He's got a little bit of a skunk smell, but he's
It's actually Laurent's cologne.
It's called skunk pussy.
And there it is. There go the rails. There it goes. We made 48 minutes. But there go the rails.
We have the international break. We have games. We have things. I'm sure we'll think of a best 11, a best 42. I've been thinking about all the stupid things that all the other shows do that we don't do. Like, we don't do who's the MVP because it's too easy. It's Mo Salah. Who's the best up and comer? Like, we need to get into like the hot take, fresh take things. Like, we need
give me a ginger from Sweden. That's your fucking up and comer.
Oh, your
he plays on the wing. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Oh, is that to ABBA?
Oh yeah, they made an ABBA song
give me
for Dejan Kulusevski. He came from Juventus. His name is Kulusevski.
Oh, nice. That's exciting.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Anyway, I'm wrapping it up because I got to get my cat out of here.
All right. Stink puss. Let's get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortinez. I'm happy to have him back. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you mess your podcast. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show because we need you. And Skunk Pussy out.